All right, let's get into this weekend's box office. So, Clayton, I'm going to start with tip of the cap. Tip of the cap
The cap.
to
Tip of the cap.
you because I went low on Kung Fu Panda. Well,
And
actually,
when you go low,
yeah,
I go high.
you go high.
Let
So
me plow.
we haven't even got to the plow. Maybe the latest plow in the history of an episode of the BO Boys. We're plowing at 30 minutes in, but
Yeah.
can you give us a plow for the box office weekend of Friday, March 8th, 2024?
Number one, Kung Fu Panda 4, $58.3 million in its first weekend. Number two, Dune Part 2, $46 million, down only 44%, added 3 theaters. It's at $157 million in its second weekend of release. Number two, Imaginary made $10 million in its first weekend. Number four, another newbie, Cabrini, starring Austin,
Gallego.
one of BO Boy Austin, who we saw this
Congratulations.
weekend.
Yep.
More handsome in real life, can we say? More
Yeah.
star power in real life, I would
It's that
say.
thing when movie stars where you see them on the screen and it's breathtaking, and then you meet them in real life and you just realize
Now I get it.
movie stars are aliens compared to human beings like us. And that's the effect that Austin had when we met him in real life this past
Absolutely.
week. Yep.
7.5 in its opening weekend. And number five, a movie you saw an hour of, I think, right?
Yes.
Bob Marley, One Love, $4
About an
million.
hour and a half. Yeah.
$4 million, down 45%. It hemorrhaged 626 theaters. It's at 89.3 in its fourth weekend of release.
Oh, what a hit.
That's a big hit. I mean, the top five is really all we have to talk about.
Yeah.
And
We don't need to go into Madam Web at number 7.
This Kung Fu Panda 4, second biggest opening of the entire franchise.
This is incredible.
The first one opened to 60.
Yeah.
And the second one opened to 47. Third one opened to 41. And this fourth one opened to 58.3.
This is amazing. Clayton, this is amazing. You went high. No one went high enough. You didn't go high enough.
We said 50. We said we didn't see 50.
We said we didn't see 50. This thing almost hit 60. I mean, we're here on a Sunday night. When the Monday actuals come in, maybe
Could be
Kung Fu
60.
Panda gets to 60. I mean, this is unreal.
So even though I didn't get the number right,
Yeah, you got the sentiment.
I got the sentiment. Yeah. And I was correct. I'm vindicated because the Jack Black effect is real.
That's spectacular.
The rise in his Q score among children really played a huge part in this, I believe. And I think that is the main reason this did as well as it did. The second reason 1A and 1B, I would say.
Okay.
1B is the rats eating their cheese. They had not had any cheese since migration.
Yeah.
Right.
They were so hungry. They were gnawing on their own tails for the last couple of weeks.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, the thing with Jack Black is when the first Kung Fu Panda, fuck it, it's a raw feed, I'm drunk, came out, Jack Black had year one, Gulliver's Travels, the big year. I mean, these things were terrible bombs for him, right? Then he had Goosebumps, which kind of ran him back a little bit. Well-liked movie, wasn't a huge hit, but then Jumanji, Welcome to the Jungle.
Huge hit. He was great in that.
And then now, obviously, coming off of Mario, one of the biggest. And the thing about that is that we always say voice acting doesn't matter. But he was the face of that promotion because he sang the Peaches song. He put a video out on YouTube with him physically in real life playing that song. He would play that song on buses and at subway stations. This guy was out there promoting that song.
And I just want to stop you on one thing. Great Oscars tonight. Incredible telecast. Best in a long time. The one misstep, and this isn't on the producers because it's just he didn't get nominated. The Peaches song from Super Mario Brothers absolutely should have been nominated in Best Song. We didn't need the Diane Warren song and her nominating. So it's
cruel.
It's cruel. It's like Annette Bening. It's cruel to keep nominating Diane Warren.
It's cruelty.
And the Diane Warren song from Flamin' Hot Cheetos. We both said it. The one saving grace of that performance would have been if they shot Cheeto dust onto the crowd.
Did not happen.
They didn't do that.
Missed opportunity.
If the Peaches song with Jack Black performing it at a piano had been performed on the same night that the I'm Just Ken, Ryan Gosling, we didn't even mention it, amazing
Great
performance.
performance.
That would have been such a that would have taken this Oscars to Billy Crystal level, not the Jack Palance doing one-arm push-ups, never beaten that, but it would have been in that tier right under that if they had gotten Jack Black to do the Pizza song. They should have nominated him for the Oscar. That was a big failing there, but it is so real, the Jack Black bump for this movie.
Absolutely.
He is as big a star as he's ever been.
Good for him
You
too.
know, this is box office mountain for Jack Black this year.
Yeah, he's a huge kid star.
Yeah.
And so
Bigger than KG. Bigger than Rage Cage.
bigger than Rage Cage, absolutely. But they did a "Hit Me Baby One More Time" music video, them on the red carpet with some of the stars of the movie. That was a video that came out last week. Them just goofing around on the red carpet premiere and shot a
JB and
video.
Rage Cage.
JB and Rage Cage
Good.
doing their thing,
What a
Tenacious
good
D.
what a good guy.
Yeah,
Would
friends.
either of us ever be as, magnanimous to the other one if one of us became a huge star and the other didn't? I mean, we'll say yes now, but in real life, probably not.
Yeah, probably
But
not.
JB is just so magnanimous to his old friend.
Yes.
Very old. Um,
Let's talk demos real
do
fast.
it.
So, male skewing 58%, 67% falling between the ages of 13 and 24.
Mhm.
18 to 24-year-olds made up 48% of the viewers. Latinos and Hispanics accounted for 44% of the
Wow.
sales, followed by Caucasians 22, Asian 18, and Black 11%,
Wow. Wow.
right? So,
Um,
I mean, this movie is I mean, 58. It's so big.
it's so big. It's so big. I mean, the thing is, you don't see a 4th movie in a series that doesn't have a big added element because a lot of the talk with this series was they lost a lot of cast members who had been in the previous 3 movies,
Yeah,
you know,
which
so
lowered the budget.
lowered the budget, but it did make it feel there was a lot of talk of, "Is this movie gonna be a
Hotel Transylvania
war
4
situation?"
situation.
Yeah, because, I mean, I'm looking at the names: Angelina Jolie, Seth Rogen, David Cross. That's not gonna mean anything, but Jackie Chan, Lucy Liu. Other than David Cross, those are a bunch of people who mean something to the box office in different
Yeah,
ways. They all were in the first 3, not in the 4th one, and, you would have thought that meant something, but Jack Black's stardom is just so much bigger than losing any of these other cast members.
yeah.
And listen, they brought in Awkwafina, and this was a hit, so
Good
good
for
for her.
Awkwafina.
Good for Awkwafina, you know, but he is just at the top of his box office game right now, and, you know, if you're The Rock and you're trying to figure out the next phase of your career and get back on track, Jumanji 3,
Oh,
you pay Jack Black and Kevin Hart and Danny DeVito and all whatever they need to get this in pre-production ASAP.
yeah,
Like, get Jack Black on the set of Jumanji 3 immediately, you know, once he, is done whipping Cody's ass at WrestleMania, that should be The Rock's entire focus. Maybe he's gotta do both. He's
mhm.
gotta be calling Jack Black backstage at WrestleMania, try and get him into Jumanji 3. You got coming off of Kung Fu Panda, that is has to be The Rock's focus right now.
Yeah, if he's smart, he'll
If
do
he's
it.
so anything else on this Kung Fu Panda? I mean, it's
I think
basically
I wanna
Jack Black and the rats needed their
yeah,
cheese.
and I think the story will be more how it holds, how it legs, and I think for right now, that's a good that's the information we have about Kung Fu Panda for at the moment. I think another big story, I mean, is this Dune hold.
This Dune hold is excellent. It's the best case scenario.
Yeah, so it opened a little bit higher, a tad, a scooch higher than Oppenheimer.
Yeah.
It dropped only 1% worse
Mhm.
than Oppenheimer.
Mhm.
Right? Because wait, let's I'll just double check this because I wanna make sure I get this right. It's so close. Yeah. Right now it's 44%.
Right.
Now this obviously can change,
Right.
but Oppenheimer
dropped
dropped
43% in the second
43%,
weekend.
right?
And remember,
So
that's a summer weekend.
that's a summer absolutely. It's a summer weekend. Kids are out of school, right? This is not summer. And the fact that this thing dropped only 44%
And it was going
is
this is Oscar weekend, so, like, there's
mo
the people who wanna go see Dune 2 for the artistic value or the those people are on Sunday, they're just getting ready for the Oscars all day.
Mhm, mhm.
So, having this great hold for a movie like this on Oscar weekend, because Dune 2 is gonna be Oppenheimer at the Oscars next year, and the fact that people went to see it in this number on Oscar weekend is another feather in its cap.
Yeah, John Mulaney's gonna be making, spice jokes next year. He's gonna come out with blue contacts in next year, and so, yeah, this is
Does John Mulaney, and listen, he's not Billy Crystal, but does he come on stage riding a sandworm to
gotta
open the next year's Academy
he
Awards?
should,
He should.
he should,
He should. If the BO Boys were creative consultants on that Oscars,
and
it should be.
we should be.
That would be the first thing is let's build a giant sandworm because
You
Mulaney's
yeah,
riding it out onto the stage.
you put him in the movie where that great scene where Chalamet's character gets that huge sandworm and is riding it. That's Mulaney cracking wise, trying to hold on to the sandworm, and then you cut from that on the screen to the sandworm coming off the side of the stage, and he falls off of it, and he's like, "I'm
Yeah,
here."
I'm here. Yeah,
That is what should happen.
yeah.
Now
And then he starts wiping his nose because it's just sand.
yeah, and then but it's spice. His eyes are blue, and then you look and you see his eyes are blue, and he was like, "Oh no, back to rehab," and people will just fall
People
in
love
love.
it. We'll pitch it in the room, and he'll be like, and I'm like, just do it, just do it. Yeah, I think that's how you got to open next year's Oscars is Mulaney right in the sandworm. This hold is incredible. It confirms that people love this movie, and this is a cultural event. And listen, the
This guy's gonna have
Oppenheimer.
Chalamet is gonna have back to back over $200 million domestic films. That's amazing.
So Oppenheimer, in the end, domestically got to $329 million.
Yeah, I don't see that here.
It just can't because Oppenheimer came out in the summer
And
and was riding Barbie.
thank you.
You know, Oppenheimer rode Barbie the way that Mulaney should ride a sandworm to start the Oscars next year. And Dune 2 does not have a Barbie to ride. It's doing it on its own. It's doing it on its own. And so I
Dune and okay.
doing it on
I
its
like
own.
it.
Yeah. Listen, let's write all this stuff now, way in advance of next year's Oscars, so that way we barely even have to show up. We just have to check.
I have a friend of a friend who knows Carol Leifer, so we'll just try to shove it in her mailbox at some point.
Yeah. So I don't think the Oppenheimer 329, even though they are pacing well together right now, is feasible.
Mhm.
But we're looking, I think, at Dune 2 being able to, I think, 250 million makes sense, and 300 million is a possibility. Like, that feels like now that's starting to be the range of what Dune 2 could do, is that 250 to 300 range. And that's spectacular, and again, sets it up to be the Oscar movie of next year, to be next year's Oppenheimer at the Oscars. So, great hold. Chalamet is just giant movie star at this point, and
Zendaya was at the Oscars,
yeah,
looked spectacular.
presented, as you pointed out, presented solo,
Yes.
which is such a a trust in a stardom to have
Yes.
someone go out there solo.
Solo. I mean, you had Michael Keaton out there with Catherine O'Hara, and we love her and we love him, but he's a guy who could go solo.
He could go solo,
But
but that was
they were
Beetlejuice
doing
Beetlejuice.
Beetlejuice too, but yeah, yeah. No,
Here
how many times did you say it?
just, twice the
Okay,
movie.
good, good.
Beetlejuice coming
Smart.
out this
Okay,
September,
thank you.
which more and more feels like that's gonna be a
Was
huge
it
hit.
ever in question? It's got Jenna
Jenna Ortega.
Ortega.
Well, I think there was listen, you could always look at a movie like that, and listen, Tim Burton has not been on his game for a while, even box office wise, and you could definitely look at that as you're doing the wrong kind of nostalgia, and the star power isn't there, and this could go horribly wrong, but I think as we start to feel the buzz for it, that
Mhm.
movie's gonna be gigantic,
Yep, agreed.
and I think it will actually be good. You know,
Yes.
you see Keaton tonight, the guy still got his fastball, and
It
it
does.
does and
Catherine's
Catherine
great.
O'Hara has
Yeah,
a fastball,
yeah.
and I think that movie's gonna be just it's in the Warner Brothers early September it slot, and that's gonna be a huge movie.
Yeah, I agree. Let's talk Imaginary.
Okay.
10,000,000 right now, that's an estimate. It's gonna go lower on Monday. Nobody liked this movie, cares about this movie. This movie's DOA.
It's DOA, but here's what I'll say, $10,000,000 for this movie that got bad reviews, no one likes, no star power, no real hook to it, you know, it was not about an imaginary friend, it's about a bear that
Chauncey.
Chauncey, it should have been called Chauncey.
Mhm.
Chauncey has no star power, we said that Chauncey's, you know, la la
La La
crocodile
Gaga, yeah.
outside the gates of Hollywood, never coming back in, but it just goes to show, as Bread of the New Flesh always says, horror always wins, that even a movie like this, a just piece of trash, starless, premiseless movie, by virtue of just saying it's horror, could still get to $10,000,000 opening weekend.
Yeah.
It is just horror is such a slam doink at the box office where if something is great, it's gonna overperform. You know, Megan is gonna do 40,000,000 opening weekend,
Yeah.
and if something is worthless, like Imaginary, it could still make $10,000,000 if you air just enough commercials for it.
Yeah, and I think, like we said, the teens need a place to go,
Yeah.
to be in a dark room
And do whatever.
and do whatever. Thank you. There, you're being a little bit more modest this week, which I appreciate because the coarsening of society is very.
Well, let's take care of that.
Oh, no. So, let's talk a little bit, about imaginary
Okay.
demos. Skewed women,
Wow.
53%, so not huge.
Yeah,
62% between 18 and 34, makes sense.
makes sense.
Among those 18 to 24-year-olds, represented 32%, uh, with an additional 20% for the 13 to 17 age group, which, of course, is
PG-13 horror.
PG-13.
Yep,
In terms of diversity, 38% Latino Hispanic, 35% Caucasian, 17% Black, and 6% Asian.
yep. Everyone goes see horror movies. That's
Yes,
just the way it is.
absolutely. So, that's that.
Yeah, that is that. Chauncey is no Freddy Fazbear, though I think this 10,000,000 is partly thanks to a Freddy Fazbear who just were like, bear horror is gonna get some amount of and
Yeah,
Cocaine Bear, you know?
Cocaine Bear seems so far in the rear view, but I get it.
Yeah, bear horror.
Yeah, bear horror is hot right now.
Yeah.
The way doll horror was hot for a while there.
Yeah, and I think it's still hot once the next doll horror comes out. I mean,
Mhm,
yeah.
mhm. Cabrini.
Let's talk about it. We met the star this weekend.
Yeah, directed by the same guy who did Sound of Freedom.
Yeah, I didn't even really register that we talked a lot about it being an Angel Studios release, but I didn't really register that it was the same director.
Mhm.
Obviously a very different genre,
Yeah.
you know, Sound of Freedom was a straight up action movie, and this was a religious biopic,
Mhm.
and Angel Studios just knows how to market stuff.
Yeah.
You know, this didn't have a big star in it at all. I wanna read something from our Substack. So, of course, Wannabe O junior intern Jack has brought back the Substack. He's doing amazing work every week writing his previews and his recaps, and here is a line from his write-up on Cabrini's opening weekend. He says, "On a final note, while I am sure Christiana Delanya was excellent as the lead, casting a bigger female star in the role could have potentially added a couple extra $1,000,000 to its weekend total. Granted, however, there are not many Italian actresses who have broken out in Hollywood, with the biggest being Monica Bellucci, who is 59 years old." So Jack points out an issue
Mhm.
in Hollywood, which is there have not been many Italian actresses who have been turned into stars
Okay.
overseas. So, you know, it's been a while since we've had an Isabella Rossellini,
Yes.
and then, as you point out, a Monica Bellucci. So we've got our Italian Americans, you know, but even then, it's like Marissa Tomei. You couldn't cast her as, the young Cabrini biopic. So, it's a kind of a wake-up call. Maybe this Christiana Del Anya, this is what you need to create that star. You cast an unknown in Cabrini, and hopefully, she becomes a star out of this, but guess do a better job, Hollywood, according to Junior and Jack, of turning these Italian-born actresses into movie stars.
Yeah. I mean, this was definitely an older play. We knew it was gonna be
Mhm.
55%. I mean, sorry, 55 plus
Mhm.
49%. So that's huge,
Huge.
for the oldsters. Caucasians, 65%,
That's very high for
followed
Cabrini.
by Latino and Hispanic, 21%,
Right.
Asian, 6%, Black, 4%, and other, 5%. How m okay, what percentage do you think were Italian Americans?
Of that 65%?
O okay, so okay. Oh, it's okay.
Yeah,
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 okay, okay.
you can
Okay,
hold
okay,
that,
yeah.
yeah. Um, I would say it's could it be 40% of the 65%? Does
Yeah,
that feel
and then
right?
25% were non Italian.
We're non-Italian Americans in
Okay.
that Caucasian demo.
Yeah,
That
yeah.
feels about what that would be,
Now
yeah.
for a movie like this, do you think that it would have made more sense to just divide that so that you could know how many actual Italians went to see this movie?
Oh, if you would have pulled them out of
Pull them
Caucasian
out of
just for you to
Caucasian.
know. For you, that's what you would have wanted to
But
see for
just
the
for
numbers, for the
future
memos.
Italian filmmakers to know
Okay, so maybe we need to, reach out to the companies that track this, and you could suggest that to them.
that maybe
Pull
you pull out Italians from that
from that
Caucasian
Caucasian
just to
demo,
know,
just to know,
because this
because
is a
you
very
wanna know.
Italian skewing film,
Right.
and so you wanna know, did it really hit that main demo,
Okay.
which is what you were trying to aim for.
I'll look for an email that you could, address that you could send that
Yeah,
to suggest that idea.
and since you already did it once, so why not just do it
Just keep doing it.
just keep
I
doing
see,
it.
I
Yeah,
see.
yeah, yeah.
It's listen, it's something to consider.
Okay.
It's to pull the Italian American demo and split that out of the
J
Caucasian
just
demo
for
for the tracking
better
purposes, for
tracking
tracking
and
purposes.
better,
That's what
yeah,
I thought.
more accurate information.
So this was an overperform for sure. This Cabrini opening to what it did is, this was tracking
Eh
at like 5 or 6, right?
Yeah, yeah, I mean, it
This is not Sound of
yeah,
Freedom,
yeah,
but this was an overperform.
yeah. It did
So
better than The Shift and After Death, but with the 94% positive on Post Track and the A Cinema score and the high Rotten Tomatoes, you would hope that this would do better.
well, here's the thing, I'm looking up right now, and I obviously should know this off the top of my head, so I apologize um, to my Catholic upbringing for not knowing this, but, uh, Easter is in 2 weeks.
Mhm.
Actually, in 3 weeks. It's 3 weeks from now, Sunday, March 31st is Easter. Could Cabrini get itself to Easter to really eat up some Easter eggs at the box office in 3 weeks?
It's so long to stay in theaters.
3
It's
more
so
weeks, yeah.
long. It's already only at 2,840 locations.
And it's gotta get through a weekend where Ghostbusters Frozen Ghostbusters opens, and then the Godzilla X Kong
Yeah, the
collab
collab.
opens. So that's tough. It's almost a little surprising they didn't wait a few more weeks and make sure it's there on Easter, but I guess the idea is people who celebrate Easter are gonna be celebrating Easter on Easter.
Mhm, yes, yes. But
So,
still, maybe the weekend before
Palm
or
Sunday
yeah,
weekend,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. But you know what? I still say this is a big feather in the cap of wannabe oh boy Austin Gallego,
Mhm.
who was featured, as he put it, featured extra, I would say co-star
Yeah,
of
co-star.
Cabrini, and great job,
Talk
Austin.
about young Italian stars.
Possibly, we don't know.
Yeah, is he?
We don't
We
know.
don't know.
You're always wanting to ask that question, "Who's Italian? Who's not?"
Yeah, well, I just met him, so I didn't wanna immediately ask him if he's Italian or not.
But, you asked me pretty early into when we met.
Yeah, I sorta knew.
Yeah. So, big feather in his cap, and listen, maybe a big feather in the cap of the, young actress who played Cabrini, Christiana Delana, star of the movie.
Yeah.
So, there you go, and listen, biopics, number 5, Bob Marley, it's doing great. We mentioned it, this is gonna pass Ro it's gonna make more money than Rocket Man.
Yeah.
So, Huge for the Bob Marley IP. Maybe you get a sequel, Bob Marley: True Love.
He is definitely, as the title of his greatest hit says, legend. He's a legend.
He is a legend. Yeah.
If we didn't know before, we know now.
And, we in the months leading up to Bob Marley: One Love, we were talking, are those posters still up in the dorm room? Is Bob
Mhm.
Marley still up there next to Taxi Driver, as your dorm room
Yeah.
poster? And whether it is or not, and I think this kinda shows it probably was, I think there's gonna be a lot more of them next semester at the dorms coming
Now,
off of this
Pat,
movie.
are we at an age
Mhm.
where we cannot ask for pictures of dorm rooms? That's probably not
Yeah.
something we can ask for.
We definitely can't, on this show, say, "Co-eds, take pictures in your dorm rooms." We definitely I think, like, the
Well,
word
in and of, we want pictures of the dorm rooms.
of the
N
walls and the doors.
Yes.
I think that's what
We
we have
want
to
a
make
picture of
clear.
the posters in your dorm
Yeah,
room.
yeah, we gotta make
I would say let's make sure we say of your dorm room, because
of
if
your
you say
dorm
take
room.
a picture in your dorm room, that's assuming that person's gonna be in the photo.
We don't want people, we don't want faces, we don't want other
People.
body parts, we just
We want
want
posters of
posters
uh,
on doors, and we wanna yeah.
yeah, so, and preferably Bob Marley posters.
Well, that the main things we
We
wanna
we we we
know.
want a rundown of your posters, so just take a picture that's panoramic enough
Yeah, yeah,
of your dorm room
yeah.
that will show the posters.
Yes, we wanna know, and I
'Cause
my
it could
person
be a lot of Taylor Swift, it could be a lot of Ariana Grande, it could be a
Of
lot
course,
of
there's gonna be a lot of Taylor Swift. Well, these are not high school bedrooms, these are college dorm rooms.
definitely not high school
Definitely not high
bedrooms.
school bedroom what I'm
Jesus,
saying in
Pat.
terms of some of the things you listed, I think those are feel more like high school bedroom posters. College dorm rooms, that's where you're gonna get your Bob Marleys. I think Taylor Swift will be there for sure,
Okay.
but I think you're gonna get a lot more Bob Marley dorm room posters the next couple of semesters because of the One Love box office performance.
Yeah, so you feel comfortable asking for pictures of dorm rooms?
Of doors and of walls
Walls
in these dorm
in dorm
rooms.
rooms.
Yes.
Great.
Um, Clayton, I got nothing left. I mean, do you have anything else to say?
There can't be.
I mean, there's of course Oscars who will win.
Yeah.
But other than
Other than that,
yeah,
nothing. Except for, until next time,
we'll
we'll smell
smell
you at the box office. Nailed it.